U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. So this was a big thing last night. What was your first reaction?
Well, for those of us who have thought this is an abomination for 50 years, it's a joyous outcome. But I think if you're worried about the court as an institution, and the court has a vital role in our constitutional system, this kind of a leak is not tolerable. And it's particularly not tolerable under circumstances where it seems patent that it's done to intimidate the justices in their process.
And the FBI has been involved. I want to ask you about one particular aspect of this. You'll see a lot of people on the left, and including senators, Democratic senators, saying, hold on a second, these justices, even if they were appointed by George W. Bush or President Trump, all said that Roe was settled law. That's what they told us when their confirmation hearings. I just want to flash back to Justice Alito's confirmation. Watch here.
Roe versus Wade is an important precedent of the Supreme Court. It has been challenged on a number of occasions, and I discussed those yesterday, and the Supreme Court has reaffirmed the decision, sometimes on the merits, sometimes in Casey, based on stare decisis. And I think that when a decision is challenged and it is reaffirmed, that strengthens its value as stare decisis.
So what happened here in this particular case? Mississippi brings a case to the court, and then they say, well, actually, let's take a look at this.
Right. Well, you know, look, he qualified it, as almost all of them do, by talking about stare decisis, right? But now you're dealing with very smart, gifted, clever lawyers, and they speak like lawyers, and they're very careful when they answer questions when they're being confirmed. What does settled law mean? What settled law means is if the Supreme Court has made a holding, and I want to run into my old haunts in the Southern District of New York down the street and challenge the holding, a district court in New York cannot overrule what the Supreme Court has done, because as far as the inferior courts are concerned, that's settled. The Supreme Court always has the capacity to revisit its own cases, and it has tests that apply for that task, and the most important of them is stare decisis. One of the considerations of stare decisis is, has the court reaffirmed the decision? But it's far from the only consideration of stare decisis, and this has been a very contested issue from day one. No one can
Since 1973.
Right. No one can say this is a consensus view.
Some of the passages have been reported by Politico. I just want to read you one line that apparently was written by Alito back on the 10th of February, I think.
Right.
At least the first part of February, we should say. This court cannot bring about the permanent resolution. No, this is not it, guys. This court cannot bring about the permanent resolution of a rancorous national controversy simply by dictating a settlement and telling the people to move on. Whatever influence the court may have on public attitudes must stem from the strength of our opinions, not an attempt to exercise raw judicial power. So he's saying, look at what we have decided and on what grounds we've decided this, and judge that.
Yes. And Bill, what you're hitting on is really the difference between being a progressive jurist and a constitutional conservative. Progressive courts, activist courts, pronounce outcomes that take decision-making away from democracy, take it away from our democratic self-determination. What makes a constitutional conservative justice a conservative justice is not about imposing conservative outcomes on the country. It's about what the court's role is in a democracy. And the court's role in a democracy is to be modest and to jump in only when the Constitution absolutely requires it. And otherwise, they're supposed to let us govern ourselves, which is what happened with abortion up until 1973.
Well, we're learning a lot about this. I wasn't aware of this. Dana, you said you weren't aware of what earlier?
Oh, that there's a Supreme Court police force.
Yeah,
because you write the piece that says Roe v. Wade Supreme Court leak must be investigated as a crime.
Right.
And apparently the FBI has been called in. Jonathan Turley seemed to indicate it might not necessarily be a crime, might be unethical, but why do you think it should be prosecuted as a crime?
Well, I think, number one, a Supreme Court opinion that they exchange around, it's not their property, it's the property of the United States. They're all government employees. If you embezzle government records, that's a crime. If you convert them to your own use, it's a crime. If you defraud the United States, which the Supreme Court has somewhat extravagantly interpreted to mean any deceptive practice that undermines government operations, that's a crime. If you obstruct justice in a judicial proceeding, that's a crime. So there are a lot of bases for the federal authorities, the FBI, to investigate.
We need to get to the border here in a moment here, but this is what I did not know. 1973, Roe versus Wade decided 7-2, with 5 Republican appointees joining 2 justices who were nominated by Democratic presidents.
Right.
5.
Right.
What changed in 49 years?
I think a lot more attention was paid in the conservative movement to the judiciary. You know, if you go back in history, some of the Republican presidents say some of their worst decisions were people who they put on the Supreme Court. But I think beginning with, and the Federalist Society has a lot to do with this, but beginning in the late 1970s, 1980s, the conservative movement turned its attention in a very exacting way to judicial interpretation and to constitutional interpretation. And a generation later, I guess, I hate to say this, Dana, two generations later, we see the results.
Right.
Andy, thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Really great to have you. Yeah,
great to see you again.
Yeah, in person.